here we are again. We're in the truck, not going super far, but far if you had to go in a boat, right? So we're gonna go down to the Eastern Basin like we've done for, I mean, I've been doing it probably for close to 30 years, but kind of got away from it a little bit as life and the schedule and everything got crazy. But in a super warm year like we've had the last few, well, those fish really migrate to the eastern end, you know, to that almost Pennsylvania, New York waters. We're gonna go not quite that far, but there's just a tremendous amount of fish down there. If you've seen some of our other videos for the last few years, that deep water fishing, smelt-based deal, the bigger fish go down there and just huge schools of them. So while we still got some, you know, decent fishing back west, guys, a lot of guys are perch fishing. As that oxygen levels get lower, as the bait fish and the water temperature gets higher there, east is where we're going. Deep water tactics we're doing, stay tuned. We got B Team Bob and a couple other unusual suspects.
Oh, you thought we were finished? Yeah, we just getting started. Yeah. Woke up this morning, had to remind myself that I got what it takes. It's been a long journey, you see the blood and the sweat dripping on my face. No turning back now, I'ma bet it all on myself, gon' raise the stakes. Full speed ahead, pedal to the metal, I'ma cross that line first, finish my race. I done put the work in, showing up early and I'm leaving late. 10,000 hours, no debate, 10 toes deep, 20 years straight. No sense, just a visionary, this about to be legendary. Day after day, slow and steady, hours and hours, bring it, we ready.
You know, just because I do this as my job doesn't mean it's any different than you guys when you get a day or two off work or what have you. The weather is not looking good, and it's looking even worse for tomorrow, so we're going to try to kind of sneak out early to get a couple hours in, hopefully. But we've already got a northeaster going in the teens, which, as you know, out here, it's got a long way to build up. It can be pretty nasty. So, not even sure the boat's going to leave the trailer, to be perfectly honest.
So, Ross, we're going to give you footage today that's better than you taking a poop on a boat.
Honestly, I think my butt being shined out there is pretty good. That footage lives, you know. 360 footage.
Nobody needs 360 of that.
Maybe some boat footage today. We've got kind of a romper room crew. Travis, B Team Bob. Travis needs a new name, but I don't know. So if you remember and watched our little deep water show last year, we had B Team Bob. We switched out Pat for Travis. We only get so many credits and can deal with so much. But you remember, this is literally the exact location we talked about Bob shaving his leg. So little different story today. We have rain gear on. We can't talk about that. I got the Sims head to toe. It's going to be rough. We're hoping we can even get the day in. We've got northeast winds. Tomorrow's pretty much a no-go for sure. Deep water, Lake Erie, 2 knuckleheads, ginger Captain ready to go.
Yeah. Let's go. I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into, and I don't break a sweat. Let's get it. 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 Let's get it.
Bob learned from last year. See, old dogs can learn new tricks, because if you've watched the video, which you should go back and watch with Pat, he's like, what with the board? He didn't realize on our first rod out we had one on, which we do again. But today,
Tan line Bob.
So, you know.
So we got one, Bob?
Yeah, it was, you know, as soon as I felt the rod, you know, I'm like, we're not putting a board on because we need to reel a fish in.
At any rate, so here we are. Just over here trying to tune the crankbaits. You guys want tips? Number one thing, make sure your crankbaits are tuned. Another little trick here, see, we're letting these things out, and I'm gonna stop this one even though it's not where I want. Just let it sneak out to the side, because you can get a tangle real fast here. So Bob, what are we doing stand there? Do we have a net ready, Bob? These guys are captains, but they still need to be apprehended every now and then. The look, you guys, the look you could see behind the thing.
I'm not used to reeling things.
Oh, fuck, we got one on that one. Don't worry.
Right here, man.
So
here we are, a different year, a different day. same result. We've got a chunky walleye on the deep junior thunder stick. We got a couple captains here, so this kind of helps out. Travis is jumping on. We literally had 2 rods in the water. We got 2 fish immediately. Really nice. You can see these fish, they're eating the smelt. Deep junior thunder stick. That has been the absolute slayer really most of the season here in the summertime. This is why organization is so important and kind of knowing where your stuff is at, because right now I'm gonna take this time to actually get stuff in the water.
I'm on the last caller.
Bob is communicating. This is good because you gotta know what's going on here, because this puzzles. So you don't miscommunicate. We're coming back here, Bob. We're putting the rod up. We got the old rainbow thunder stick. Travis doubling down. When we don't have giant fish, one of the things I like to do is this is a Beckman, the rubber net, as you can see. Got the little Lakewood net protector on there. And that way I can zing this thing around. And I just want to show you something right there. That, folks, is a certified 1A smelt. And it happens to look a little something like that.
It's a rainbow smelt, to be exact.
So let's officially introduce, we got Travis on the show. Welcome to the shit show. And you guys ask all the questions, and I'm like, I'm not a biologist. We brought one today. We brought one. So we got a rainbow smelt, according to Travis, he would know, and we've got a rainbow thunder stick. Thunder sticks, lead core, it's a deadly combo this time of year. We got fish to catch though. We got fish to catch. So we got like 3 fish on right now. Bob's doing good for Bob. So I'm trying to board up over here. But what we're actually doing is we're gonna try to get this line, we gotta get this out. You've heard us talk about this before, because we want to clear around. We can't literally get the rods in the water, which is a great problem, but it becomes a really bad problem if you're gonna have a bunch of tangles, and then you don't not only get fish, but now you're not getting your stuff in. So both outsides have one, but if this makes sense, we're gonna get these inside ones out and set so that we can come around, because if not, you're gonna have a hot mess with the tangles. So 5 and 7 colors, Suffix 832 right now is rolling. Travis got a pretty good fish on here. We're running lead core. If you want to know all about that, you guys ask questions, check out our lead core video. We have one literally specifically on the rigging we did with Capt and Chris. We're running our boards 2 trip. We got the pin in the back here. There's a lot of different clips. They all kind of are a little tough, to be honest with you. I don't really have a favorite. That's why we keep trying these different ones. But it's really important for this. You know, normally I have to do a fixed board. With this, you almost can't, because you see how we're setting stuff. It's going around, it's tripping. When you have this much line out, 300 and some feet in some cases here. Like this is 7 colors. We've got a leader. We've got a little bit of backing. It's a lot of stuff going on. Without the board tripping, it makes it almost impossible. We'll see you at lunchtime.
It'll be that long.
What color are you on?
Maybe 3. Your guess could be as good as mine.
Bob, that's a demerit. That's a demerit for Travis, Bob. You want to issue it to him? No. Bob says we always just beat up on him, and it's mainly because, I mean, there's some flubs in there, some snafus, but you know, everybody gets a little bit of pushing around demerit action. So what we're actually setting up here on our divers is we're going to try some different stuff. Even those thunder sticks are probably the deal, and probably should be using them on the divers as well. We're running some really long leads with some Silver Street double willows, single willows, and different things like that, just to try something a little different. So one of the things I like to do is I have the guys, it's kind of opposite of a lot of boats. We're having Travis come back here, that's why we got the really long handles on the Beckmans, but we're gonna have them kind of just push right at, because there's just a lot less resistance, because this is a really big fish. You know, those thunder sticks have really good VMCs, but yet we don't want to stress that. But the fish are snapping, so we're just trying to be efficient, because Bob got another one on the 7 colors before we even got the...
That's a good one. Off in the net.
Oh, man, I'll tell you right now, you need to do some push-ups when you got that 9-foot handle there out. We have more fish on, so we don't have a lot of time to talk, but you see what it is right there again. The thunder from down under. So we've got these releases pretty tight, even though we've had some go because just there's so much pressure. But you see, that's all you got to do is that little rod slap. We're going to have Travis reeling back here so we can have workspace to kind of come around. He's going to not reel right away. He's going to let that swing around so we don't have a little float action. Bob's going to come back here so we don't have any action. And these guys, I always like them to point right at the fish. Guys think you can pull away from them. I would argue that you really can't. This thunder stick right here, Bob, the old rainbow trout. Give me a little slack there, Bob. Good one?
No, you got me.
Catching Travis. The thunder stick. Now, again, a lot of guys out here may use the bigger basin. I'm not saying that you can't if you weren't trying to catch as many fish, as crazy as that sounds. But the little ones are that size of that smelt that we showed you. And you really just seem to do a lot better. And that's an old favorite right there. You guys are color freaks. They don't make that exact one anymore. Wow. Something similar. We've got a pretty good sized fish on the diver. We've got a 10-foot leader on this. Why a 10-foot leader? They're a pain in the butt, but they catch more fish. So Bob expertly helped us with that because, oh, this is a nice one. On that double willow we showed you setting out, we have got a really nice one here. I'm going to show you a little trick that we do that's a little different here if we can get this before Travis is in.
You're running out of time.
How close are you, boss?
I'll tell you.
Okay. So, get in there, Bob, slide over. Okay. See that hook in there? That's a 1/0 VMC, and it's really important to use some bigger hooks when you're trolling fast and deep like this. Ooh, you can see that thing just got it. Because you don't have the flexing. If you use treble hooks for this, I'm not telling you wouldn't catch fish or anything, but they really tend to get caught up in stuff, get bent and broke. So we got the divers in play a little bit. I think, you know, one of the mistakes you don't want to make is when we were running out here, the bait was definitely on the bottom, and we'll show you some screenshots of that. But the big thing is don't get right up in the bait. You know, try to get around that a little bit so your screen's just not fully loaded up. Because again, the marks were better when you got out of it a little bit, and we're definitely at that situation now. And we're also higher than the bait. So that 5 colors of lead core, I almost didn't even put it down because of where, you know, these fish are at on the column on the screen. But don't overestimate the fact that the boat's going to push them down when you go across the top of them, number one. Or number two, that they're going to come up forward. So we're just trying not to get caught up because we kind of have a little bit of a dumpster fire for too many fish. Wham bam! Get her done, Bob! So here's the deal, that this fish has got, I don't know what going on in there, but you see where that willow's at? We might have hit, the right deal. So this is a single willow that's a little bit bigger size, but you can see that VMC, that second one in there, all the way down in. That's when you know you might have the right kind of setup.
I think it's just decompression, the fish coming up from depth, and it was bleeding a little, and that's just pressure being released.
Okay, so we're gonna do a kind of a naughty little trick here. Bob has got, we only have 2 dipsies out because we never got over there to doing it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna set this dipsy diver, which is meant for the port, I'm gonna set it on the starboard. And then I'm just gonna swing it around once we get him out of the way there with that fish. So again, little tricks like this with efficiency are really kind of the deal, because you can't catch them when they're in the boat or on the couch. Like Bob, you know, he's up at like 3 in the morning, but he was a little slow moving this morning. You know how it goes. We got a lot of chaos going on. A lot of chaos. So another willow fish. You saw that one we just caught, that single willow was down its throat. But the double willows are going too. Travis, when we get this off, go out here like bottom bouncer style, like 90 degrees like that. Yeah, back here. Trying to create a little separate. We're trying to we're trying to create a little separation. So you can't do much, but sometimes just a little bit is better than nothing. But just notice how he's got the rod. We want it like that and not just angled because we want the tension on it. If you don't have tension on that fish, obviously slack, they get off. But the other thing is they just glide and then they end up in a worse situation than if you didn't do anything at all. Ripping out. Just super chunky fish. You know, when you got everybody in the boat that needs cheater glasses now, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. So one of the things is you almost need like a dedicated spotter. You really, guys playing on their phones and stuff, they're getting lots of demerits. You know, Bob eats granola bars, occasionally gets demerit for that. You gotta have your head on a swivel. See, he knows. You know, when we have boards tripped and whatever, guys aren't watching and seeing that, that's a bad deal because these divers, you're sometimes just gonna see a little head shake. Even on a big fish, like one of those 6-pounders we had, you're barely gonna just shake and they'll swim with you for a while. So you wanna make sure that you're really paying attention to everything on the lines. It really makes a difference. Ooh, like this one right here. Hi diver! Holy diver! We have no budget, but if we did, we'd play some cool music. But instead, you're just gonna have to sing it in your head. So Bob is doing very good with communication. I hate to say that out loud because he'll screw that up. But so we had one break there on the 7th, the only board we have out. Bob's trying to set another one. So we got Travis reeling that, but we're gonna get Bob to try to set this board in warp time because we want to get that out. So we're gonna come around it. And of course, I'm still on this diver fish here because it's, you know, the problem is everything takes a lot of time, especially when there's this much pressure. These they're good-sized fish, and so you can't really push them or you can't make this go any faster. And we have a lot of line out because we're fishing deep. Most of these rods we're catching them on are around the 50-foot mark. Oh, inside diver just inside diver. Bob, when you get that set. Like I said, you got to head on a swivel. You can't be doing just one thing when you're going to run that fish on that right there, right there. Let me, I'll get it. We'll figure it out. We're all reelers.
You can hand me that rod if you need to, Ross. Okay. Got it.
Smelled in the boat! Smelled in the boat! This is a little bit of good chaos. A little bit of good chaos.
Board on the way.
So, you know, we'll ask Travis here a little bit when things calm down, but you see what's going on right there. And that's why normally I wouldn't keep a fish like this. You guys see me throw them back. Try to be a little conservation minded, but that's the swim bladder out of his mouth, and we'll come back. So Travis, that fish we just got had a swim bladder hanging out of its mouth. I've seen the eyes poking out before, and then I've also just seen fish behind these boats floating up. So give us a little bit on that from the science side.
30 foot is the magic depth, so it's not depth of water you're fishing in, it's depth of water the walleye are in. So we're in 72 feet here. These fish on 5 and 7 colors are coming from more than 30 feet down in the water column. And when you pull them up, they decompress really fast and it pushes their air bladder out of their throat. The other thing we have against us is water temperature. I didn't look at Ross's screen, but we're in the 70s for sure. And walleye just don't handle stress very well during warm temperature periods like August right now. So we've got two things going against them. They're getting pulled up fast from more than 30 feet, they're decompressing, and they're stressed out from the temperature. So very low chance of survival if you release them.
So because of that, we got two things. We got the Ranger live well, which works good quickly, but then we've got a live well bag from Lakewood in both the cooler and the live well, and we're actually going to transport those fish when we get a moment into the cooler, the ones we're for sure keeping. And then even the ones we're going to take a picture of, they're ultimately going to end up in the cooler as well. bag in that segment here. Oh boy, this thing's got a mouth on it like Bob. Oh,
That's a good one.
I'll tell you what, you know, if you watched that last deal we did with B-Team Bob and my buddy Pat, last year we were catching them on the thunder stick. And these are literally thunder sticks that I had in high school. This exact one. And it is working just as good as it did back then. Traps, you like getting that out?
When in doubt, go rainbow trout.
I like it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the Lakewood bag and we're going to not have to touch these 100 times. Get us a count, and then we're going to move these to that nice ice up front. Level 3 here. You know, when you're out there, even if you got just your buddies doing it, you have to assign tasks. It's like anything else. You got to play chess doing this, not checkers. That's why, you know, beating a dead horse, we've talked about, you know, not necessarily reeling a fish in. And sometimes, you know, one in the hand, we're two in the bush. So we're going to actually try to get more line set instead of getting that one fish that's going to shut down the boat from being able to move around. And just communicating. Like, these guys are all captains, they run their own boats. But sometimes that's chaos because then nobody, they're just thinking, they're not doing, they're not talking. So communication is really important.
25.
Another double willow. One of the deals on this is, may sound crazy, but even like salmon fishing, we've noticed this. When you're using these harnesses in particular, especially when the bite's a little off, which it really isn't right now, we're using really long leaders. Like, these are 10 foot. Pain to deal with, pain to store, but I can tell you just catch more. See how they did that little right? Again, that's a one-off VMC. You can see how that thing is just buried in there. You really need that extra size on these things, and I really don't like the treble hooks as much as I like them when I'm going slow. Bob says we have another one. Ladies, your husbands are capable of doing good communication. So again on this, we're not tripping Travis's board because we got Bob coming in here with both 7 colors. And for a lot of times, the biggest mistake people make is they want to just start reeling the fish, which I know sounds crazy. But Bob's going to back up a little bit. We have Bob in this corner. He's going to kind of have that rod away a little bit, just in case this thing trips. But again, don't trip the boards, just trip the boards, because now, because we haven't done that, Bob and Travis have very little chance of hooking each other, and I can set this diver, which has not been in the water in way too long, get that rolling again. This is all about efficiency. We've done a good job and a bad job of it, but sometimes you're just boxed in where you can only do what you can do with this much line out. A lot of these are 150 to 300 feet of line out, and that just can cause a big mess. But one of the other big things, and again, these guys do it a little different than me, but I would tell you to do, is to point at the fish most of the time, especially with the lead. You see that when that line's bouncing, you're putting a lot of slack in there. You don't realize it because there's so much line out so far back. And that'll make a really big difference between not losing those when they're not gutting. Those fish that are falling out in the net, which we've had a few of today, those are fish that maybe you don't get when you start doing all that rod pumping, or you're moving that rod back and forth. There's a really good example of why we want to leave those boards hooked up when possible. Because now Bob and Travis are getting pretty close together. And just because you start at different times doesn't mean anything. You get a fish that's hooked underneath or one that's twice the size of the other one, they're going to do different things in the water. And you've got to always think ahead. Again, chess, not checkers.
Got one on the diver over here.
High diver?
Yeah, well, going to dive.
Yeah. Alright.
Diver, we know.
Alright, slide over there. Bob, I'll take this, you take the diver. So we're trying to set lines here before the storm comes in. Bob is calling big fish. We're just happy he has an A fish on and they didn't come disconnected. There's been a lot of not bent rods with Bob there. I mean, 2 that were for sure. Travis, did you see any more than that?
I can confirm 2.
We have confirmed 2 demerits. Actually, it's 4 because he denied them. Bob, do you have any rebuttal?
It's actually the fish's fault. It's really not mine. So, you know, you can assess them where you like, but that's my opinion on it. So.
Bob called big fish. He's not lying.
Here we go.
So this is a 6+3, they call it, kind of the second size up of Beckman, and it's really a big difference to get that bigger bag and not the rubber net when you got the big fish. There's a lot less resistance. You guys will see me grab for that when we got the better fish. A little silver streak double willow and some rain. And some Sims Pro Dry right now. Double willows, got some silver streak double willows, really catching some better fish, which we're not honestly really intending on doing. But sometimes, you know, if you're looking for bigger fish, which I don't really want to eat these and we can't let them go, but it is fun to catch them. And then that one's out in the net, so. But those double willows, but the key on that with the divers, here I'm telling you, we've got 20-pound Shinsei P-line leader material, 10 foot, and then we've only got that foot-long harness. Kind of a shit show. We're trying to, quote, weather the storm. See what I did there? We're clear rods, we got divers on. Travis is either the biggest big ass in the world, or he's got a steelhead or something much bigger than a walleye. He's got a weight shot on the nose. Bob's got one on the diver. We're just trying to get in. Wind, the storm was here early. Shocker, the weather was wrong. We're trying to just go home, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm fitting just in this crazy good day, maybe not so good on weather, with a little silver streak double willow on one of my favorite rigs we've been fishing down here forever. Thunder sticks on the boards, knucklehead 1, knucklehead 2. They call themselves BT Bob and Travis, no nickname. We're the leader of the knucklehead patrol. Walleyes on the smelt down east.
Off to the races, it's getting dangerous. I'm here for the thrill, and I'm feeling amazing. Rush, 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 yeah, I want the rush. Rush, rush, yeah, give me the rush. Right on the edge.
Goggles are key when it's raining sideways. My beanbags weigh about, well, more than Bob now. That's how heavy they've gotten. Nasty, but the Ranger handled it well. Good rain gear. The Sims Pro Dry fared a little better than some people with some other things we won't mention. But great day in the lake. Killed the walleyes, lead core 5 and 7 colors, ran some dipsy divers, high and low, didn't really get them all in the water, but Lake Erie was very plentiful for us today, and we decided to come in here. Normally we don't come in during the storm stuff, but this looks like it's going to last all day.
Yeah, I'm a hard act to follow. I go and get it like it ain't no tomorrow. No mercy, no sorrow, nothing borrowed. I'm a true made man, a slave I never been. Heart of stone, stronger than a caveman. I came to break you down, the pressure carry your chest in. Hanging off the ledge, yeah, I'm living on the edge. They'll say I got some screws loose, but I never lost my head. Watch where you're stepping, I'm a big stepper, dog.